All right, so to start it off, guys, let's go ahead and just go over some of the gear and the talents. I don't want to really hover over and go over each piece of the gear. This is what I'm wearing right now. I have some pieces of the Season 2, some pieces of the Season 3, my Tier 6 legs. Really, there's nothing unique about what I wear compared to Feral Druids who partner with the Rogue. If you guys want to look up the Phase 3 Feral PvP BIS guide that Spotman has, I can link it in the description. I can link you this set also in the description, but there's nothing really unique about it. The only thing I will mention is I do think the 2 rings are extremely important to this comp. I started off the first season and half of the second season without them, thinking that as a Feral Disc you would want more damage dealing rings, but honestly, as time has gone on, I think we've started to tend to play a little bit more like an outlasting comp. And even if you're not outlasting, the ability to pop out and cyclone, the ability to bear and charge or power shift, like all of the things that make a druid good, you need mana for, and these will really help with your mana. So that being said, let's look at the talents. Talent is also quintessentially the same. The only real change that I make is instead of getting improved leader of the pack, when it's Survival Fittest, I go 3 into intensity, and it's for the same thing we were just talking about. With the rings, it just gives 30% of your spirit-based mana regeneration while you're casting, so this means anytime you have to shapeshift out of a roots, anytime you have to power shift, anytime you go into bear, anytime you cast clone, roots, anything like that, you'll still be getting 30% of your mana regen. And since you have 2 of these 2 rings, and because your priest gives you divine spirit, you actually have a decent amount of spirit-based regen, so I just think that's good. All that being said, I do want to put a little disclaimer on this. I don't know if these are really the best, gearing talents, or as we go over the strategies here, I don't think we're the best PvPers out there, or that I'm the best, Feral Druid out there, so take anything I say with a grain of salt here. It may just be our playstyle that leads us to do it this way, if you guys have any sort of feedback or any sort of ideas of your own of how to handle certain comps, you can go ahead and list it in the comments, but this is just what we sort of do and what we've come up with. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some games. Alright, let's go ahead and start with Warrior Druid. There's going to be a ton of things that I try to go over here, for things that we just try to look out for. I'm going to try to go a little fast, jump around in the videos, and just show certain things. It may be a lot of information, but this is just what we try to do. First thing, general, that we usually do is I go on the Druid, priest gets trained by the warrior. This is going to depend on your priest gear a lot. I know when we first started out, my priest had some PvE gear, maybe not the current season, not as much stam, not as much resilience, and it really meant that the warrior could just demolish my priest at any time. This led to me having to peel a lot more, which will mean you just won't have great uptime on the druid, but as we've gone on, my priest even spec'd into the improved inner fire, which because warriors attack slow, they don't take off the charges very fast, and because a druid can't dispel, it's really a really good talent for warrior druid. So you see right here, the druid got my trinket with an early hibernate, and then he NS hibernated me here when I'm super far away from the priest. This is something you definitely want to watch out for. I'm at 87% mana, so I can't really stop the NS hibernate, but what I should have done is that if let's just go back to that one real quick. Did I already use my trinket? No, not yet. I'm putting them in a clone. I always try to clone off their blooms. That's good. So yeah, he's doing a hibernate right here. I thought maybe I'd get a pushback. I don't know if I missed or something, but yeah, I should have just popped that at cat form. That's pretty much a wasted trinket there, and that's what leads to me sitting in that full hibernate there. So he gets to drink a little here, which is unfortunate. but in the end it's fine. Use this line of sight a little bit that he's trying to use on me, use it for my advantage. Again, I'm just training him. He got the eye there. I probably should have just kept doing more damage, but when my priest gets to half health like that, that's when I'm going to peel like that. So I'm always watching my priest health. I'm seeing that they're coming into the mid. This bear might charge. You know, he might try to charge my priest so that he can't run away, but I charge the warrior first. The warrior trinkets the charge, which is a really bad move on his part, and then right now, I have him in a bash. He has no trinket. The druid is a million miles away. I'm going to go for a full CC combo, and this is something that you always want to go for. This is the big game changer, I feel like, for them, or for our comp against it. You can put him in the clone. He has to sit a full clone. The druid, the only way they stop this right now, once he's already in the clone, he has no trinket, is the druid has to feral charge you. So your job is to keep distance. You see him on the opposite side from the druid here, and I'm backing up a little bit, moving a little bit, and he's just going to clone my priest, but that's whatever, because I'm going to get a full entangling roots on the warrior, and now the warrior's stuck for 10 seconds. I go around a little bit because the ASC went for a feral charge on my priest to keep him even longer, and I'm like, fine, I'll put another half roots on the warrior there, and then I'm going to get back on the druid. Now my priest is behind, his hamstring has finally fallen off, the mortal strike's fallen off, the sunders might even have fallen off, which is all the things you want to be watching. Your priest will be always hamstrung through the whole game. They will just be walking slowly. It's very annoying for them, but they kind of just have to walk. If you see him walking across the top, like, just slowly walk. They're going to get mace done. They're going to get fucking sundered. That's a big thing that you want. You want to be able to see if you can let the sunders fall off, if you can CC the warrior for long enough. And yeah, that's really it. Right now we're really just trying to drain the mana a bit of the druid. We're trying to get him in fears, see if I could have hit him with a... Right now I'm probably ripping a little too much. I think this is probably a game from a month or two ago, and we have changed our strat here. I see my priest again getting low, so I'm going to maim the druid. Now he can't charge me, right? And then I just start cloning the warrior. If the warrior was good, he might have intercepted me, but if he intercepts to me, he's not in range of the priest anymore, and he has to walk back to the priest, right, which is not ideal. I hit my priest with a little bit of regrowth because he's low, and right here I should innervate the priest, but I think I wait a little bit. Something that we've talked about, me and my priest, that we want to do is, in this match, there's, you know, it's healer DPS versus healer DPS, and both of us have an innervate, right? So we're kind of both playing the long game. The difference is here that we can innervate whenever we want. They cannot. They have to play around the dispel. See, like, I can just innervate my priest right out there, and we can keep playing aggressive. This is why we like to kind of dump mana and go for early innervates, because the games often go long enough to where you're reaching, you know, that second innervate stage. And just to kind of even point it out even more, you see the druid, he wants to go innervate. What does he have to do? He has to run away. He doesn't get to just innervate out in the open like we do. And then that means I get a full entangling roots on the warrior, because now the druid, the person who kind of has to stop me casting entangling roots with the feral charge, he's not in the game. He has to go do his innervate. And it just puts us a little bit ahead on the mana front, as far as, like, again, if we get to that second innervate there. So yeah, here we got a full fear on the druid, so in order to not break the fear, I start to go on the warrior a little bit. It's honestly questionable. Sometimes we debate whether getting on the warrior is good at all, because I can't put any sort of wounds on him. I can't really stop the blooms, and you see once the blooms go off, he's basically going to be at full health, especially with their talent that whenever you, like, root them or stun them, they get 10% of their health back. So they're almost always at, like, full health. It's difficult for us without a, like, healing reductive, you know, ability. And it gives them rage, I think, is the hardest part. You see he's at full rage now. He's just going to start doing some mad damage. I'm starting to lose some of my mana here. I'm at 29%. So the goal here now is for me to not be shifting out a lot. Again, use that. When you're in cat form, it counts as out of 5. So just sitting in cat form, you see I'm like, I was at 27%, now I'm at 36%. You see my mana is just absolutely regenning so fast. And that's the great part about having Spirit as a Feral Druid, because you're not really casting. One little thing to note here, if you notice I made a little mistake, one thing the Warriors have is Intimidating Shout, and you guys have a Fear Ward. Basically, the Warriors will try to Intimidating Shout both of you, and whoever they're going on will be taking damage, and the damage will most likely break the fear. So you always want to keep Fear Ward up on the person that the Warrior is not attacking. Right? The one that the Warrior isn't trying to kill. So you should have Fear Ward up on me. Luckily, I resisted there. I had my trinket up anyway. I probably would have trinketed it, but it's not as good as trinketing the, what's it called? I get a little bit of an unlucky resist here. I don't think I'm full spell hit, but, I have like 2% spell hit, so I have like a 2% resist chance. A little bit unlucky. I'm going to go for it again. I feel like if I go for a cone at this moment, he might get out of range. And the other thing is, and I think he spell reflects here, is that sometimes if they're not already in a cyclone, you want to hit them with a roots first, because then if they do, see if he does spell reflect like that, you're just in a roots, and that's fine. You getting rooted is really not a big deal, but you being cycloned obviously is a big deal. So if they're completely not CC'd and you're just trying to free cast on them out in the open, it's a bit risky sometimes to do a cyclone because of spell reflect, but if you do an intending roots, there's just like no risk involved. Let's go ahead and skip ahead. I'm just trying to again set up some CC combos on the Warrior here. I might do another half root. Oh, target's not in line of sight. That's a bit of a misplay there on my part. We get the half root here. I'm going to go back into cat form, and we're going to try to reset up on the Druid. Give him a little bit of an out there with that charge. Probably shouldn't have done that. And then he got a hibernate on me. Not ideal. Here, I swapped to the Warrior. I think this is probably a bad idea to go on the Warrior when he's at full rage. You see, like, look, I'm in cat form. If the Warrior's going on you, you basically have to be in bear. I got greedy. I went for a rip. But as I said before, now I'm in bear, and he's not attacking me, and I honestly don't know what I'm doing there. Okay. I'm a little bit low in mana, so I'm being greedy. I didn't want to go back into cat form and start doing the damage, and I knew I had some rage, and I knew the Druid would cast eventually, so I'm just waiting for the Druid to cast, and I'm going to charge him. And then usually, let's see if I do it right. Okay, I didn't quite do it right here, but I think we'll have another game where I do the bear combo. What I like to do, I'll just show it here, is that I like to charge usually, and then what I'll do is I'll mangle bear, and then I'll hit him with the bash. That way the mangle is already up when I go into cat form, and I can just start shredding. If you bash first and then you mangle in bear, then it's still not as bad, but you have the free rage, so it doesn't cost any of the energy. But the reason why you want to mangle first is then they're in the bash, and your next global is cat form, and the next 2 globals are shreds, right? So you just get more off of them, more damage while they're in the stun. So a little bit of a CC combo here. I thought maybe if we got a fear, it would force the Druid's trinket, I think. Yeah, and then the Druid didn't trinket, which was interesting, and I went for another clone. This was pretty bad because it's going to be a half clone, which is only like 3 seconds, and this is where we basically lost it. I just need to play more defensive here. I'm getting greedy. I want to go for the kill on the Warrior. My Priest is at 600 mana. He has about 2 spells left, and again, some things to look at. His Berserker Rage just finished. That means I can maim him. I have 5 combo points on him. I can maim him for 6 seconds. What do? I put a rip on him. I went greedy. That just completely wrong. And now I'm just in desperation mode. I realize my priest is at 3.5k health with 100 mana. There's no shield up. Yeah. And then boom, just like that. Priest is dead and you lose the game. So yeah, you got to play defensive, or else that happens. So with that being said, let's go look at a win. All right, so now that we went over the loss, let's go ahead and look at a win. Hopefully, since a lot of the same general strategies are here, I can kind of skip through. Usually, if you can find the Druid, find the Druid. If you can't, I like to just start the game sometimes because I want to move on. So I think, yeah, let's see if we can find where I open here. Yeah, so I open the warrior right here around the pillar, trying to get it to where he can't be in line of sight of his druid because the druid wants to play out in the middle. I get a Mage onto him, and I try to clone out of that. If you can clone out of that, they're going to Berserker Rage because that breaks incapacitates and fears. But once that's over, your priest can fear them. And then the only way they can get out of that fear is either their trinket or a death wish. And he popped death wish there. My priest used pain sus, like we talked about earlier. We want a pain sus for the death wishes. And then they swap to me. And if the warrior is going on you, just keep up demo, keep up fairy, and stay in bear. That's what you have to do. It kind of sucks, but you just stall out the game. No one's winning. No one's really losing. It is what it is. They go on me for a while here. I think I finally kind of bait him into going for getting my priest, and then I go for a feral charge onto him so that he can't pummel me if I pop out and I clone him. I hit him with the clone. He doesn't trinket, so I'm going to put him in a full roots. And then he trinkets, and then I think he swaps to my priest. Oh, and then I hit him with a half clone into a half roots, which is still another 6.5 or like 7 seconds. So it's still pretty good. He decides to go back onto me, I think because he realizes he already has 5 sunders, so keep it going. I go back into bear to stall, and then I charge onto the druid and start trying to help slow him down. See, my priest can maybe burn there. My priest can maybe fear, right? He got the fear off. That's really good for us. And I'm trying to drag this warrior back here so that the druid can't see him when he comes back, or the druid has to be closer. Finally, the warrior switches. He goes on my priest, and now I'm on the druid. I go and pop the early innervate that we talk about, and now this guy is at 3.3k, and my priest is going to be at full. He's trying to hibernate me. Priest is always trying to dispel the hibernates. That really helps. And now he's probably looking to go innervate, right? When he's at this low in mana. So my priest is just training him, and I'm putting him in the maim into clone. When the priest is in a hamstring, it's going to be very difficult for them to reach the druid. So you have to put the druid in like 12 seconds of CC in order for your priest to finally make it across the map. During this time, my priest is going to clean him so that if he is going to try to innervate, you know, he knows that he has to be hiding. And we're going to keep up the pressure on the druid, and the warrior is going to try to stop us here. So let's see. So the druid runs across right after that, and he innervates, and my fairy fire fell off, so I'm going to go stun him, open him, and start doing more of the same. If they're casting on you, try to save, you know, your combo points for a maim, then hit him with the clone so that the priest, again, see my priest finally makes it, even though he's hamstrung. And then we're going to get a double fear here. The warrior has to Berserker Rage, and the druid has to trinket. So now we have the druid's trinket. The warrior does have Death Wish again. But still. Well, yeah, okay, well there, and then he pops the Death Wish, but they're both at half health. The druid has less mana. We're just trying to keep up the pressure and make sure that my priest doesn't die during this Death Wish. Again, the Death Wish is the scary time. This is when you want to be peeling as much as possible. I should have been double casting a clone. I knew he was probably going to trinket that, or cast a clone and then instantly start casting and taking roots in case he trinkets. Yeah. Warrior is still going to get back onto my priest with the charge there, but I wanted to stop this guy from drinking. But then you see my warrior, my priest is super low here, and that means I have to peel. I mean, honestly, I'm being late. I'm being greedy here. I went for a maim on the Druid before I went for this peel. But I get the full cone. Honestly, I should stay for the full roots. Okay, I did. Because the DR just fell off. I get the full roots, and now me and the priest are kind of sitting pretty here. 3.4k, 3.7k on my priest. He probably could have started drinking there. Druid's at 1.9k. I try to line of sight the cone. I don't get it. Now we're just training. He had tried to hibernate me, but again, the Druid is going into bear form. Like, when you're on the Druid, the healing isn't the majority of the way they spend their mana. A lot of what they're doing to spend their mana is getting into bear form to stop you from doing the damage. This is a bit risky here. My priest is super low, but I see the Druid only has 600 mana, so I'm kind of going all in here, hoping that I can kill the Druid before the warrior can kill me. I have my trinket up, which means that if the Druid does pop out and cone, see, I use my my rip as my finisher, so then I can't really maim him to interrupt, but I'm just going to let him get it, and I'm going to trinket that Cyclone right away, get a big backstab crit, he's dead. Big shred crit, right? Now the goal is, I mean, honestly, I'll win this against a warrior anyway, but always to play it safe, try to keep your priest alive afterwards, and that's a win. All right, on to our next comp. This is going to be Druid Lock, SL Lock, so this is another out sustained comp here. There's a couple things that we do. Sometimes I just train the Druid, but oftentimes what we'll try to do is kill the pet, just because then they either have to pull the pet back, they have to heal the pet. It just kind of annoys them. They like to set the pet on the priest so that the priest can't drink, and then they can devour the magic. So we go. It's taking too long, so I eventually opened. There's the Druid, but we got some big damage off on the Warlock there. He's going to try to fear. I think I was immune because I still had the fear ward on. Trying to line of sight this fear. I got it. A lot of times with the pet, if they start to realize that you're just training the pet, which they obviously have because they're healing it hard, then it can become very difficult because the pet just runs so fast. But you are a Druid, so you also run very fast. Something that I like is, if you see, I had 5 full combo points and I had full energy, which means I can come in, start the rip, and then start building a bunch of combo points there. You see I got a lot of damage. The Druid's already used NS. He's already used Swiftmen. So right now, he's just having to deal with a lot of damage coming in, but unfortunately there's still hots on the pet. And it's just difficult. I think here we might go for an Innervate soon. It is risky with the Devour Magic, but the priest can have so many buffs up that usually the odds are in your favor for that. So that's what you try to do. He just got a full fear on the Druid. The Druid's not trinketing, and I had all the combo points and stuff. So again, I'm still just training the pet because I know the Druid is so far. I feel like most likely he won't be able to make it, but unfortunately, he did. He's regrowthing there. Probably could have kicked him, but honestly, for Druid Lock, the manas are going pretty fast here. You see the Druid's at 3k. My priest is already at 800. This positioning is kind of bad for us. We don't like to play out in the open against the Warlock because then they can free cast fears unless I'm interrupting them, which I should be because I have full mana, but I'm just not because I'm not playing well. I get pretty lucky on some crits there. The Druid they kind of forget about the pet because my priest was training him there. He was too scared of the burns. We got the pet, and I instantly innervated. So let's just go ahead and watch that little sequence here again. So we're coming back. I think the Warlock's probably trying to fear my priest here. My priest is just training after the Druid, keeping the burn pressure up on him. The Druid, when he is going bear form, so they can't be burned. When they're in bear form, they can't cast heals, which means that this pet is not getting healed. So I'm going ham on the pet, and the Druid reacts a little too late, and we're good to go. As soon as I kill the pet, boom, innervate, because The pet's nowhere near to devour. I even bash the pet, and honestly, they both are training on him so badly for the innervate that they forget about the pet there for a second. Unfortunately, the druid does wake up, tries to hibernate me, but I shift it. And then again, he was casting a hibernate instead of a heal, and now they lost their pet again. Warlock's in a pretty bad position here. He probably wants to hard cast another one. I tell my priest, hey, just go kind of camp him, do some pushback if you can. Hopefully his fear will be back up soon. You see it's got like 13 seconds and he can fear him. Priests don't really have a way to stop a cast except for fear. And then I just kind of we just do some hard swaps here. The druid's completely he can't find a place to cast an innervate. And so they just lose. All right, so Priest Rogue, this is a difficult one. The opener is something that we've changed a bunch. There's kind of two things I'll go over real quick here before. One option that you can do is what we're doing here, where I remain in stealth and you let the rogue sap the priest, then the other priest comes in, they pop power infusion, they spam dispel, and they just try to clean every freaking buff that your priest has on them. You wait until the rogue pops out and you stun the rogue to try to limit their damage. With a pounce, it puts up a bleed. Pouncing rogues is probably one of the best feelings in the world. The downside to this is when you're on the rogue, the priest is free to do whatever. They're gonna sap your priest and they're gonna cheap shot your priest, and so maybe you pounce the rogue, but now your priest is in cheap shot, their rogue is in a pounce, but the other priest is completely free to do whatever they want. They can keep dispelling, they can add on damage, and most likely what they will do is run in and fear. If they get both of you with the fear, your priest can't dispel it, which is terrible for you because you either trinket it and then you're going to get blinded, or you don't trinket it and you're in a full fear. The other option is to instantly open the priest and hope that their rogue either goes all the way to your priest to sap him and then has to run back. You kind of want to do it in a position where it's line of sight so the rogue can't just shadow step. The other option is the rogue might just open you instantly, which is okay in our mind. We've actually kind of gone back to just opening the priest right away. That way they don't get the free dispels, but it does mean that you open the priest and then most likely the rogue will open you in cat form. Sometimes you might get lucky to get, a couple combo points on the priest and then go bear. That's ideal, but that doesn't always happen. It also often puts you in bad positioning to where you'll be out kind of in the open and they'll get to do whatever they want to you. But it's a bit of pros and cons with these openers, but this one we're doing the open the rogue thing. My priest gets clean, their priest comes in and does the double fear. This is aggravating because I have to just sit it. Luckily I sit it long enough, they don't dot me, I get the re-stealth, so I'm gonna get a half pounce on the rogue, which is nice. I think I might try to maim him here. No, he blinded me and I couldn't really, he popped evasion. I tried to clone him, I'm going to charge him, and then I think I'm going to try to clone him again. Nope, I went back into cat form to try to get a maim on him, because now my maim's coming off cooldown. It dodges again, even though I feel like I'm behind him. Pretty aggravating. I try a couple rips, still nothing is landing during the evasion, even though I feel like I'm completely behind this guy. I'm playing right on top of again, when you're trying to peel the rogue, you play right on top of your priest, which leads to the double fears, which is pretty terrible. Luckily, my priest fears first there, but they're undead, so they get to just pop their free will, the Forsaken, and then their priest tries to double fear us. I get a lucky resist here. I get the rogue in a maim. He does that. I trinkets. I try to get another, another cyclone on him, but he line of sights it, so then I get him in a full bash. I see their priest is line of sighting over there trying to get my priest, so I put him in Entangle Roots. Their priest can dispel it, he could cloak it, but I just decided that would be worth the sort of stall there. The priest does end up dispelling both my fairy and that, but if you see their priest is pretty low on mana, This team, I think Priest Rogue, they play very similar to like a double DPS on my mind. They're very aggro. They want to dispel everything and just go so ham to try to win very quickly. Your goal here is to play for stall, play for an innervate, and hopefully out-mana them. You do a ton of damage to a rogue with Shred because their dodge doesn't matter with Shred because it only will hit when you're behind them. But unfortunately, they put up the wound poison, so your priest will just be at a natural disadvantage for survival here. Their priest is trying to mana burn. I'm going to put him in a clone. I go for, this is something I almost never do, but you see my priest is super low. I go for a YOLO innervate. I figure any globals their priest spends dispelling is a global that they're not spending burning or fearing or whatever. So I go for the innervate. The priest sees it, trinkets, tries to fear me. That's his first global, but I resist. Wouldn't really have mattered anyway because he runs in. He had already trinketed, he already willed. My priest hit him with a fear, and boom, he gets the full innervate. This is looking pretty good for us right here, honestly. We do end up losing this game, as you'll see. A little bit of a misplay on my part here at the end. We're very far ahead here. I come in with a re on the rogue. It's a big stun. He's got nothing for it. And I try, and what's happening here is I go to bear form, trying to interrupt. He dodges it, but I'm like, whatever. I go for the bash. He's in the bash. My priest is going to fear off of this. This should be a win. Honestly, right here, the rogue does have blind. He could blind me, which would be good for him, but I'm trying to get behind the rogue and hit him with a rip here to just start doing damage, and then I can CC him, but as you can see on the right side, it just keeps saying dodge. I probably should just be shredding. I feel like I'm behind him for a lot of these, but yeah, nothing's happening. We go a little too aggro, unfortunately. Again, we would win this long game with my priest having an extra 1,000 mana here, my priest now having PS and stuff, but I was just a little too late. He comes in with the blind on me to interrupt my clone, and then my priest is going to die. And then we lose. But I think my priest almost lives here. You can see I'm going to go instantly for a charge, go for a clone on him. We're really trying to just survive. I'm trying to get a maim because remember I had the, what's it called? He kicks me. My priest gets a fear on him, I think, right here. And then the priest dispels it. I hit him with the full maim. And then I'm going to hit him with a full clone. And this is still okay here. I'm pretty low on mana, though. So I come up, I try to make sure he can't I get that. Their priest wants to go drink, I think, or he comes in for the fear. I get feared, but my priest dispels it. Again, their priest super my priest super But honestly, with the thing is with a rogue, like you actually do more damage. They put up the wounds and they have more control, but I feel like a feral does more damage. So right here, I was deciding what I should do, if I want to let the priest drink and go for the kill on the rogue, which is probably what I should have done, and I hesitated here. If I would have just gone on the rogue, I think I would have had it, but I thought I could also kill this priest. He only has 600 mana, so I thought I could kill him. I don't get the kill on him. They end up coming in, I get a rip, he gets a full fear, they start gouging me, kidney shotting me, cheap shotting me, and all this stuff, and I lose the game. Alright, this is same comp, and actually the same players as the last one. We do kind of the same opener here. Let him clean the priest, I open the rogue. The reason for this is just that I do a ton of damage to the rogue. We're hoping to make him disengage, use his vanishes defensively maybe. Again, if you are on the rogue, it means you're all the rogue's on your priest, you're on the rogue, everyone's grouped up. Their priest gets to probably get the psychic scream on you. Kind of sucks, but I get a re off of it. I get a maim on the rogue, and he uses his trinket. Like any sort of game, it's all about looking for their trinkets here. Once I get the rogue's trinket, I know that I can do maims on him, I can do clones on him, I can shut him down for a while, so I'm just trying to build some comp points. Honestly, these are pretty low, and you see their priest is using PS. I'm trying to zone out, their priest has Psychic Scream, so I'm just trying to zone away from the fear here. Unfortunately, I can't be in there. He starts casting a flash heal. I go to charge it, I think. Yep, I hit him with the bash. And then now we have the priest trinket. And once you have the priest trinket, that means that you can set up an innervate play. That's the only way you're really going to beat them in mana on this one, because again, he's still trying to fear me. I'm trying to pull him away at least, so if he does fear me, at least I'm far away. Honestly, it's a bit risky. I probably should just kind of travel form. Luckily, I resist that fear. And so I run back in. I'm going to try to help on the rogue. I think I put up a rip here. Yeah, that's definitely wrong. Should have maimed. Maim 5 combo point maim, 6-second maim. That would be huge for my priest right here. But I was being aggressive and zug like I do sometimes. So that just wasn't the right thing to do. He pops evasion. I'm trying to get behind him. I'm trying to maim, I think. I hit the maim. He dodges it. No, I got the maim. Okay, so I hit the rogue with the maim. I try to cycle on the priest because I'm thinking, okay, priest has no trinket. I put the priest in a clone and I innervate my priest and we're good to go. I tried to clone the priest. He got the resist and I still innervated my priest, which is risky, but my priest is doing the pillar game and I know that their priest is going to have to come around, so I hit him with a Pharaoh charge. He fears me. I trinket the fear and then I go for the full clone on him, which means that now my priest gets the full innervate. But it means that when blind is up in 17 seconds, that I don't have a trinket for it. So I'm sitting here now. I'm helping heal a bit. Just trying to make sure that we win the long game. My priest has almost 8k mana. Their priest has 0. I'm telling my priest to just fear, but I guess the rogue has Will the Forsaken, and then I try to stop the priest from drinking over here. That probably wasn't ideal, or even if I did, I should have stayed I should have just fairy fired. Running in this close leads to this. I get full feared, and this is where we almost lose this game. I come out of this fear, the rogue blinds me in that fear. Their priest drinks back up to 3,000 mana while the rogue is just going. I get a though. I'm really trying to get on the rogue because pounce stun on him is huge. He still has another trinket though. His trinket came back up. I get a rip on him, which is huge for the dam. My priest gets a big fear on theirs. Mind blast the rogue, and the rogue's still ticking from the bleeds here. He puts a PS, but my priest is zoning, and he's trying to mana burn their priest. So you see the priest at 1k, and he's just, boom, gets the burn. Now the priest has nothing. The priest has no mana. And we just go for, as Josito says, big wands. Boom. And that's me. Alright, on to the comp that we probably struggle with the most. So I'll go over a bunch of things here while we're sort of looking at them talking. It's kind of the same thing with the Priest Rogue. We struggle on what we should do for the opener, whether it's... I always want to hop on the Rogue because, you pounce a Rogue, then you can go straight into a maim. They'll have to trinket, then you can build combo points, get maims on them later. Backstabbing a Rogue is very nice because they're always depending on evasion and cloak to sort of live, but when you're, sorry, not backstabbing, but shredding, it only happens when you're behind them. So it's like a guaranteed way to make sure that you just hit your hits. Right there, we decided to just open the Mage. I was hoping to poke my head out and have my priest sort of hit me before the rogue sapped him. This was kind of our first attempt at this strat, so it was kind of bad. If we were going to do this again, I'd probably have my priest try to run up and move to this pillar or get closer. He might get sapped in the middle there anyway, but I don't know. Again, it's all a matter of balancing act here for things. Like, we've also said, like, hey, just sit behind the pillar and wait till the rogue opens me and then come in. But that's going to be... that just means that you're going to take a long time till your priest gets into the fight. But, I mean, this also didn't... my priest is obviously not helping me here anyway, so I think that's the better strategy, is to just sit there. So I'm waiting for the kidney shot to come. I instantly trinket the kidney shot, and then I'm running away a little bit. Right here, I should go cat form and I should get back in. They just got my trinket and they want to sort of reset and go again. And I shouldn't allow that. I should stay in combat, I'm just freaking out because I just sort of do that sometimes during Rogue Mage because it's so scary. You see, like, we come in and I get a ton of damage on him. He has to ice block the maim, and now he's at 50%, which is good for us. They reopen on me in cat form. I probably should have just gone bear form as soon as I saw the ice block, and knowing that they were just going to come out and full silence. Now the polymorph DR is off of my priest, so they're probably going to try to get a poly on him. They blind him. We always save the trinket for the blind. Right here, he trinkets the blind and he goes for a fear, which is very good, but unfortunately they're both undead. This is probably the biggest misplay of this thing. I am sitting in bear form. This guy's casting polymorph, and I'm just running away. Kidney is already down, so I need to press enrage and then charge the mage right here. The mage is also blinked. If you see, their blink is on cooldown, so I could also bash off of that, and that would basically guarantee that we get his trinket. Instead, I go out and then I realize, hey, I'm not taking some damage. I should be aggressive while I'm lining it, and the rogue vanishes and he pops the cheap shot. It's still DR'd though from the last one, which is nice. But I'm in cat form, I'm power shifting in cat form, and I'm taking a full water elemental, full frostbolt, full, as you see, my health just gets obliterated right there. I go into bear form now reactively, but it's a bit too late. The kidney shot is just coming back up. Their counter spell is back up, so they blanket silence my priest. I'm just trying to line of sight here while keeping my face towards the rogue for dodges. I think my priest comes out of the counter. Yeah, so I charge. He's just casting Scorch because he knows that I can lock his frost if he doesn't. I hit him with the bash, and his blink was still down, so he trinketed it, and then he used his blink to get away from my priest's fear, and then he instantly cast polymorph, and then that was the game. He got the polymorph on my priest right there. Another option here is to just kill that water elemental. You see it's really low. It probably did, half of his damage, maybe even more. The water elemental, he had already cold snapped and got it out, so there'd be no more pet. But yeah, that's the general strat. We end up losing, but this is actually one of our more formulaic games. Alright, so this comp is not the most common, but it's something we've been running into and struggling with a lot more. It's kind of like Druid Warrior, except they have an offensive dispel, which can be very annoying for your priest, and they have heroism and wind fury, so the warrior does a ton of damage. The idea is to kind of shut down the shaman yourself, but always be keeping in mind of peeling, and make sure that when the cooldowns come out that you are doing everything you can. So right here we go in for the maim into fear. I maim him, I kill the tremor, and then we fear him off of that. Somehow his maim broke early and he dropped another tremor, but we killed it for the first tick, so he still gets the full fear here. We're putting a bunch of damage onto his warrior. He's coming out and having to go full defensive mode here. I'm being pretty aggressive. I should have maimed here instead, especially since he just popped the Death Wish. He had already used Berserker Rage. And so right now, if I maim him, he had 5 combo points. It's a full 6-second maim. Only way he gets out of it is he trinkets. And if we get their trinket, all the better. But I didn't. I went aggressive. My priest is getting pretty hammed here. So I'm still trying to do some peeling here. I try to go for the clone. He pummels it. I go for the bash. He doesn't trinket it. I go for the cone, and I instantly cast a second cone in case he trinkets. He was smart. He waited, and then he trinketed. So now I'm going for Entangling Roots. He gets grounding. I instantly cast a second because they almost always do that, and it gets Earth Shocked. And then I'm going for the next grounding here, or sorry, the next Entangling Roots. So now I get the warrior in a full Entangling Roots. We have his trinket, his Death Wish is down, their heroism is down, and we're in a decent spot. The only other thing now we need to do is get the Shaman's trinket, and then we can start to land full CC combos on the Shaman and kill the warrior. But even then, with if that Wind Fury is up, which it is, he can do a lot of damage to the priest. So, you know, right there, I just did maim into Cyclone on the Shaman so that my priest could go over there and help fear, but he's just hamstringed. It's a little too slow, so he decides to just go back, not get purged all his stuff, and to just stay with the warrior. The Shaman ends up trying to come to him anyway because he wants the purge. I'm just totem stomping, and then I'm a little slow, and I'm trying to be a little greedy with my mana. I probably shouldn't be. I still got 70%, so I could be more aggressive, but the warrior's right here, so I'm just going to start doing some peeling. Go for the maim. He does the Berserker Rage. I go for the clone. He pummels it. I go for the, I get a charge off of that, and then I'm going to go for another clone. And I get the clone, and he has no trinket, so now I'm just helping heal, using my mana to help heal on my priest. I get the grounding right there, and I'm going to get another clone on the warrior, and I'm going to try to Entangling Root him. And yep, that's a full Entangling Roots right there. And now the Shaman's trying to drink. He's trying to play, put up Water Shield, play more defensively. Sometimes you don't want to just pump into the Water Shield if he puts that up, just because it gives him so much mana back. So my thing is I'm going to go for the Tremor Tome over here. I tell my priest, yo, I got Tremor Totem. He's like, all right, I'm fearing him. Right here, I'm going to do it in a second, but this is when I should have innervated. Right here, you see how he trinketed and he's running away. That's when you want to innervate. He goes behind here, the warrior's on me in cat form. I don't want to line aside my priest, and my priest tells me, yo, he's over there. That means you can innervate me and you can't dispel it if I sit over here. So that's a great idea. I go into bear form because right now, when we're hodling, we're winning because my priest is going to get all of his mana back. And even though he puts on the Mana Tide, if I'm in bear form, I can live for a while. So I go in bear form to get that. I put up, the Lacerate, then I mangle, then I bash, and then I go cat form, try to stomp that, missed it, go back to stomp that, and then I start putting up all my damage. My priest is getting extremely low here. He pops PS, not extremely low, but this is low for warrior shaman. So I hit this guy with the maim so that he can't grounding or put up Earthshock or whatever, and I start casting on the warrior. I realize his trinket is going to be up, so I know that there's like a 90% chance he's going to trinket this. I instantly precast the Entangling Roots, and that's basically the game right there. He just got caught in a full Entangling Roots. Me and my priest is at full health, full mana, and we have all the pressure. Shaman only has 2k mana, and we're just going to keep setting up things. I hit him with the maim. I tell him, yep, I get the tremor. Now I'm going to go ham on the warrior. He's got full mana. He can help do damage on him. We start going. He goes for a big healing wave. He's desperate. I kick it. And that was that.